everyone,
Wait,
and
wait,
thanks
wait.
for joining us today. Yes.
Wait a minute. Okay, start over, Tom.
Okay, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today to go over a little bit about the roles of some of the participants in a typical Toastmasters meeting. Did you ever wonder what makes our meetings flow so smoothly? It's due to the teamwork of our members. And it starts with the Toastmaster of the meeting. The Toastmaster conducts the speaking portion of the meeting and also assures that all roles that are assigned are filled before the meeting starts, and also conducts the Pledge of Allegiance. At the end of the speaking portion, the Toastmaster presents the awards and also returns control of the meeting to the presiding officer, who is usually the president. But the Toastmaster needs some helpers, and each meeting we assign helpers from volunteers. First helper I'm going to discuss is the general evaluator. And I'm going to read the script of the general evaluator and then comment on each one. We have a script that we use. The general evaluator evaluates everything that takes place during the club meeting. In addition, the general evaluator conducts the evaluation portion of the meeting and is responsible for the evaluation team, consisting of the speech evaluators, grammarian, counter, and timer vote counter. The general evaluator ensures other evaluators know their tasks and responsibilities and will call on them to report at the appropriate time. During the meeting, the general evaluator takes notes and reports on all club proceedings to evaluate things such as timeliness, enthusiasm, preparation, organization, performance of duties, etc., and returns control back to the Toastmaster when concluded. So to summarize, the general evaluator, first of all, verifies that each assigned speaker has an assigned evaluator for the meeting. And secondly, the general evaluator evaluates the conduct of the meeting to be sure that it follows Toastmaster International standards. Another helper that we have is the grammarian counter. The grammarian counter plays a role in helping the club, all members, improve their grammar and vocabulary. First of all, introduce the word of the day, which is usually printed on the agenda, at the top of the agenda. Listen to the speakers and monitor their language and grammar usage, and records notes on the grammarian worksheet. Things to note would be incomplete sentences, repeats, mispronunciations, grammatical mistakes, and the like. They also count the gap fillers for words such as so, you know, like, and other word fillers or sounds. At the end of the meeting, the grammarian gives a report. So in summary, the grammarian, first of all, notes grammatical errors during the meeting, and also states and records the use of the word of the day, which each Toastmaster tries to use the word of the day at least once during their speaking. Another helper that we have is the timer vote counter. The timer times the table topics, speakers, formal speeches, and evaluators. And also each speaker gives them the time that they have left, using a green card for 2-minute warning, yellow card for 1-minute warning, and red cards when their speech time is up. So in summary, the timer vote counter times all speaking, counts the votes, and fills out the award cards and passes them to the Toastmaster at the end of the meeting. And for also, the timer is not to vote unless they are going to break a tie. So that's the only time the timer actually votes. Other duties that are assigned during the Toastmaster meeting, first of all, are the speakers, and also the table topics master and table topics speakers. And table topics is an interesting portion of the meeting. The purpose of the table topics master is to facilitate table topics, where guests and members will have the opportunity to practice impromptu speaking, introduce a topic, and call on speakers, and they will be given 2 minutes to respond to that. So what does this mean for each of us? We join Toastmasters to assist each other in becoming better leaders and communicators. not just to hear interesting speeches. So volunteering for these duties sharpens our speaking, listening, and evaluating skills. Plus, we have scripts now to follow, which back in the day, we used to wing it and give an explanation of our duties. So come on and volunteer to be one of these volunteers for the next agenda.
Tom, that was great. And if you don't mind, a question for me. I know a lot of new Toastmasters, they're hesitant to take the roles, even though, what would you suggest would be some of the first roles they should look forward to jumping into to get acclimated to the club?
Well, usually the most difficult ones probably would be an evaluator, I guess. So that would be kind of at the bottom of the list. The timer usually is one that is one of the first duties, and we hate to volunteer people without them exactly knowing what the duty entails. But timer, you have to have a watch or some kind of timing device, which if they don't have that, they need to be sure that they have that and know how to run a stopwatch basically, and know when to start and stop. So, and to know the different levels of when to put the green card, the yellow card, and the red card up. So you have to be sure that they understand that. So there's a little bit involved in that. The grammarian is another one. I would say the grammarian is probably the easiest one, because you have to know a little bit about grammar, and you also have a little worksheet or a spreadsheet that you use to tabulate how many instances people either use the right grammar, the wrong grammar, or specific words that are noteworthy, and that kind of thing. You also count the ahs and word fillers, which that's relatively simple. So that would be one that a new Toastmaster could do right off the bat.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I missed the beginning. Sorry, I just got in a few minutes ago, but one thing I think we could use to that point, like what Tom just said, he knows that's what a grammarian does, and there's probably a worksheet to help, but I think we need to develop a one-page cheat sheet that kind of goes a little bit beyond that thing that used to be on the backside of the agendas that says what each person does. That was really helpful, that thing that says what each person does. But like if there's worksheets and stuff, and if they're on our Facebook, wherever it is, we need to have a sheet to tell people, especially, well, why not everybody, but the new people, where they find it. Here's the link where that form is, you know.
So right now we're recording questions for Tom's segment, his educational segment. And so let's get some suggestions. That's a great suggestion. Let's talk about that when we're not recording his educational. And then we can probably add that into what we're doing.
Okay.
Do we have
Okay, you know, as far as other comments are concerned about that, the meeting roles, it's just vitally important that we try to involve members of the club that are not used to doing those different duties and volunteering for those different duties. We don't necessarily want to force them into participating, but it's good to get them to participate in, so we don't have the same people doing the same duties the whole time. But I think sometimes new members are a little apprehensive about doing the role, but if they are assigned the role maybe in advance, then they can prepare. I know when I first started Toastmasters, if I was told that I was going to do a duty, I prepared for it a week or two in advance and sweated and worried about it and all that kind of thing. So they can prepare, and then if they have any questions, they can ask one of the experienced members about any tips of what they need to do. But I think if we can maybe assign them a duty before the meeting, because sometimes we wait till the very last minute to do that.
All right. I think those are some great suggestions. Do we have any other questions Okay.